Pepperland goes blue.
Guys, so Jeffrey back again with you. So, you just got a cool little box in the mail, or maybe you've had it for a while and you just haven't had a chance to do anything with it yet. Inside that box, you've got this box. And inside that box, you've got several items. You've got the camera, 2 mounting and power screws. They may be in the holes and they may be loose in the package. We've got this very interesting little dongle and some Velcro. So the question is, how do you use it? What do you do with it? It's pretty simple. First thing you want to do, I've already taken them off, is you want to remove these canopy screws. Just take them off. Pretty simple. It does come with this Velcro to help you attach firmly. I'm not actually going to attach mine right now because this is probably not the atom I'm going to be using this on a regular basis. But if you do look, it is kind of cut to match this pattern. And essentially you would just stick it here, as well as here, also matches that pattern. And it just gives it a nice firm grip so that this isn't flapping around in the wind when you're going fast, or if you crash it doesn't pop off as easily. So pretty simple install. Just set it on top and you'll notice it does self kind of locate. Again, because the bottom mold matches this shape on the top of the canopy. Take the 2 screws and drop them in, like so. I'll tighten these up. Don't over tighten them, get them in there nice and tight though. We don't want them coming loose. And now it's attached. Now you'll notice on the camera itself it's got a few different ports on the various sides, as well as 2 buttons. One is the power button and the other is a mode button. The left side is where your SD card is going to go. There's a little slot. On the rear we have 2 ports. One is a mini HDMI and the other is a mini USB-B, I believe. Not quite sure what that's called. And then we have another smaller port on this side that is similar to USB, and it's for this little dongle. So we're going to do initial setup and play with the settings a little bit, so we're going to do this part first. Just plug that in there. It only goes in one way. Make sure you don't try to force it in, because if you're trying to force it in, it's probably upside down. Now that we've got the dongle connected, we're going to go ahead and power it up. I would suggest, if you're not familiar with flying quads a lot, or you're still kind of new to the sport, do this with the props off. I know that my Atom is disarmed right now, so I'm not worried about it spinning up and taking a finger off or smacking me in the face or hitting a cat or a dog or something. So again, good idea to have your props off, unless you know for sure that your quad is disarmed and absolutely no chance of it powering up. So as you can see, it's powered on, nothing's happening. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to hold down the power button, which is the button in the front. This button right here is the power, and you'll notice it makes a chime, lights go red, and the Wi-Fi dongle lights up blue. Next up is, even though this is lit up blue, it's not actually in Wi-Fi mode, it just means this dongle has power. In order to get it to go into Wi-Fi mode, you're going to want to hit the mode button, which is the one in the back, and you're going to want to press and hold it for about 5 seconds. And you'll notice that these lights in the front are going to turn flashing white, and you're going to get a flashing blue in the back. So now what we want to do is get your phone. And we're going to go to Wi-Fi settings, and you're going to see that there's an RX HD_cam and a bunch of random numbers and letters. That's actually generated by your particular device. It's going to be different for each one, and that's what you're going to select. Now, I've already connected this, so I don't have to put the password in. The first time you put it in, you're going to actually have to put a password in, and so I'm going to forget this network, and we're going to go through that with you. Alright, so now I've disconnected. As you can see, we're back into a flashing mode, and it now again says RX HD_cam and a bunch of random. So we're going to click on that. It's going to ask for a password. The default password is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. In the famous words of President Spaceball, someone changed the password on my luggage. Alright, so now you're going to see we are connected. So once we've done that, we're going to get out of settings and we're going to go and start the RotorX app. And as you can see, it's already connected. There's going to be a little of a delay, but that's just because this is for adjusting settings and whatnot. This is not something you're going to want to fly with. You're also going to see some weird graphical issues. Again, that is simply just because the Wi-Fi connection is not the most robust connection for sending video signals. Don't worry about it. It's not going to see that in the footage. So, for general settings, you're going to want to hit this little gear icon down here. That's going to take you to settings. Now there's a lot of different options in here. There's only a few you're really going to want to play with though. Audio. Some people love that sound of the motors and the prop spinning. I hate it. So first thing I did, turn that off. Turning this off means that it's no longer going to record audio. You can always get rid of that post-processing. I just rather not have that extra step and just turn it off. I don't want to hear that noise. Next one I went to is date stamping. I don't like to see that, you know, the date in the bottom and the yellow with the date. It's all kind of in a weird format for us people in America with a 24-hour clock. I don't like it. Second thing I turned off. Both of those are on by default. Next thing you might want to play with is your resolution. I'm not quite sure. I haven't done a lot of testing yet. 1080p 60 frames per second sounds pretty sweet. I do like a high frame rate. It just looks a little better even if it's a little lower resolution. But I'm going to keep it on the 2K 30 frames per second for now. The other options are everywhere from 720p 30 frames all the way up to 720p 120 frames per second, which is pretty sweet if you're going to be doing a lot of crazy, you know, through small gaps and stuff like that, and you want to get that really good detail, or maybe you want to slow things down in your editing. The 120 frames per second is going to be your sweet spot. Other than that, 1080p 60 frames is pretty nice, and of course the 2K 30 frames per second. Other settings in here I don't really play with. Cyclic recorder. This is the, you know, 3 minute, 5 minute, 10 minutes, where every 10 minutes or 3 minutes or 5 minutes it stops and creates a new file. I don't like that. You may like that. We already went over date stamping. Honestly, video lapse, no clue what that is. Don't care. I'm sure you can Google it or look in the manual a little bit deeper. Next setting section here is just for photos. It's going to let you change the photo size, white balance, settings like that, exposure, photo lapse if you're doing, you know, a couple photos every few seconds or so. It's completely up to you. So other settings down here, frequency is going to change the frequency at which it's recording video. You know, there's going to be some adjustments here depending on if you like to watch your things on television. PAL and TS, they're going to have different rates. 60 Hertz and 50 Hertz are the two options here. Default setting, you do this, it'll put everything back to default. I don't want to do that. Format's the memory card. Be very careful with that. Auto power off. This is where you don't run your battery dead. Honestly, who cares? Because this thing doesn't have a battery. So I'm just going to set it to off. I want this thing on all the time as far as I'm concerned. I mean, again, doesn't have a battery. Battery's on the quad. If I'm laying around with this thing plugged in and I kill my battery, that's my fault. Alright, last settings here is Wi-Fi settings. So when you go in here, it's going to ask for the password, and what this will let you do is it's going to let you change the SSID if you'd like to, and it's going to let you change that password. Personally, I like leaving things default, because if I ever forget, I can go back to the manual, or I can just Google default, find it. Again, we're not really worried about security on here. Now, the one thing you will notice as you make changes here, none of this is going to save. It's not going to save and apply itself to the camera until you disconnect the app, disconnect from Wi-Fi, power cycle the camera, turn it back on and reconnect. Then you'll see all your settings have changed. As for the other options that are here, this is obviously video mode. This takes us into picture mode. If it'll work. Just like so. And it does change the FOV a little bit. And that's just because it's formatting it for the size of the photo that it's going to take. We have time lapse, and then we have a timer where it'll take pictures after a few minutes. And that's generally it. The button down here in the bottom right hand corner will take you to any videos that you have or photos you've recorded. It'll show both on the camera and stuff that you have on your iPhone, because you can transfer things over if you like. And that's basically it, gentlemen, in a nutshell. It's not super complicated. It just works. It's pretty awesome. It's got cool graphics on the load screen. Icon's really sweet looking. Plays music when you fire it up. I mean, it's awesome. Durability, who knows, but who cares? Crash a lot, you break stuff, we buy more. I'll do another video, or possibly add it to this one, surprise, on the actual buttons of the camera and how to use it when you're out on the field. Thanks for watching, guys. Go out there and fly. Send in those videos. We'd like to see what you guys are doing. I love the crashes personally, because I do a lot of crashing, and I just like to make it feel like I'm not the only one. So go out and have fun, guys. Alright, bonus time, guys. Just want to give you a heads up. This is going to get warm. As many of you already know, this by itself gets warm. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of exposed electronics in here. And the whole thing is designed to work as a heat sink. Airflow going through it. It just works well. A lot of people, when they first got their Atoms, they were like, this thing gets really hot at the touch just sitting on the bench. Of course it's going to get hot. It doesn't have any airflow, but do not worry about it. It's designed to get hot. You're going to have no problems with it getting hot. If you do have anything weird that happens, just let us know, open a ticket. But because this gets hot, this is also going to get really warm. Heat rises up, it's going to get into the bottom of this. This is going to produce its own heat, because this is taking the full voltage of your battery through these posts, and then it has a step down to provide the power that it requires. So this is going to dissipate heat, because of course when you take a higher voltage to a lower voltage, the leftover part is heat. That energy's got to go somewhere. On that same note, the screws are also going to get really warm. Again, it's providing all that power straight from the battery up the cube stack into the camera. So do not worry about it getting hot. It's going to get hot. Again, for the most part, this thing is going to be flying through the air at a pretty decent speed. It's going to have plenty of airflow. However, don't worry about sitting on the bench. I mean, this thing has been sitting on the bench powered in today off and on for probably 45 minutes with a couple different battery packs on it, and even the bottom of the frame is warm. This rubber it's taking the heat through this rubber, but there's nothing wrong with it. It's going to get hot. This is going to get hot. Those screws are going to get hot. Be careful when you handle them if you've been using it for a while, but do not worry about it, guys. It's going to get hot. Thanks for watching.